Welcome back to Metal Heroes Review, episode 66. I'm talking very quietly because people are sleeping right now. Yes. So here we are discussing episodes 21 to 24 of Spielban. In 21, we open up with a very interesting opening of this one. We have spy leader Riki go into Dr. Bio's lab, and we see something that has never seen before. We see what looks like Dr. Bio in pieces, and his brain, his spine, and eyeballs are in a jar. Shakes his advice, of course, he notices right away. Gives it a nope, gives it to Queen Medora, and then we see him like this cool thing, and of course they're shocked the fact he has this form. So he wants to go and fight Spielban now. Not in their bio-life form, because they're done. Yeah, they only put out 3 in this series, surprisingly. Last one was like episode 15. So, and they also think, oh yeah, let's keep Helvina basically one last thing for her. So, like, make a promise, they'll free him, like whatever. So, he goes to confront Spielban. As soon as he says, I'm Dr. Bio. It's like, Dr. Bio, the evil scientist. Yeah, all the cruel things. So, he says, meet me at Mount Fushi Pass. And of course, he gets to children to make sure he goes there. And he does. Diana basically is informed about this, and of course, they go to the pass. Helen is informed and being chased by the spies. Like, oh, your father and brother are going to fight each other. Go and watch. She likes first, like, of course, she doesn't know Helvina was. Well, by the way, when Helen appeared in this episode, she last appeared in episode 20, at least 18. While Dr. Bio was featured in the previous 2 episodes, this actually was her first appearance, episode 18. So then, of course, they go to this area where Dr. Bio is, and Diana, and of course, she reveals to her brother, of course, she's reunited with him, even talking to him. He goes, oh yeah, Dr. Bio is your father. He's like, what? And then, of course, then he's like shocked. Of course, then he transforms into his bio rod form and fights his own son. And then Queen Medora is like, now's the time to hit the switch. And then of course, that Spielman finds out that Helvina is Helen. Like, ooh, we have all 4 people here. So let's basically blow them all up with a freaking bomb. And supposedly during this blast, Dr. Bio and Helen is supposedly killed, while Spielban and Diana survived. And then we see Dr. Bio and Helen come back to the Wolf Empire, where he says to Queen Medora, you broke your promise. And then he takes Helen to a tube, presumably the healer, and he is back being a brain, a spine, and eyeballs. And that's the last we see of those 2 for a few episodes. And this was a really good episode. Yeah, 21 was fantastic. I love this episode. Next episodes are interesting to say the least. Yes, so. Well, the thing with the next 2 episodes, they do feature the last 2 Bao mechanoids. Yep, the last 2 official ones. So this one involves a lot of brainwashing. Like, ooh, let's have this Kiss-like band along with a guy who tears with a frisbee and a guy who reads a manga to become brainwashed soldiers for the Warthar Empire. Now, this is a common reused plot thread for both Super Sentai and Kamen Rider. So this is an old plot thread. Like, it's a reused one. Oh yeah, and the guy, and by the way, the guy who plays the monster this episode, whose name is Spartan. He's played by Tagashi Ikegawa, who appeared in this episode and one episode extra, but he's famously known for being on Five Man as Captain Gora. Yes, the main villain of the main monster of this episode played one of the villains on Five Man. Yes. You're like, huh, that's interesting. Yeah. Aside from that future casting of that actor who played in Five Men just a few years later, there's not a lot of really knowing things about this episode. It's just plain bizarre. And then the episode ends with, after everybody's free from the monster, it's like, ooh, let's do a concert. And then have the lead singer call up Diane on the stage. Like, oh, you're going to be our sacrifice. And then she punched him, the concert's canceled. Yeah, kind of a weird ending of this one. Now, 23 is noteworthy for being two things. Number one, it features the found Macaloid. And two, for some strange reason, and this is never explained, for some strange reason, they use stock footage in this episode, an episode with Metalder. Yes, the monster episode, Godler. You see him fall off a cliff? Yeah, they used that for a monster in Metalder. Don't know what the reason for this was. But the plot of this episode is with this mysterious legendary mountain. People are dying, and then the scientist goes, he basically solves the problem. Well, actually, the first episode opens up in Edo, Japan. We have this guy in this ogre mask killing somebody. Who this person is, they don't really say, because it gets really present day. It's kind of a really strange episode. There's nothing really noteworthy about this one, per se, aside from the whole Edo period stuff, which I thought that was really cool. Yeah. I mean, aside from the whole thing with using stock footage that features the last battle, there's not a lot of really nowhere things for this episode. But when it comes to episode 24, which I just watched, we open up in the year 2201, the start of the 23rd century, where, get this, the bullet train in Japan is placed by the lunar train, where it goes 88 meters per hour, and people can go from Tokyo to Okinawa in just 40 minutes. I'm like, that's a quick subway ride right there. And apparently also all the trains are on the ground. They don't really go into reason for us. And then we see a guy named Guillotine. That's this guy, this beggar. And then, of course, he's spoken to by this mysterious voice who tells him, you are a descendant of the Lothar Empire. You must go back in time to the year 1986 to kill Spielban. He, of course, drinks it off. Of course, even drinking alcohol. It's like, and then we have this gerbil. Yes, a gerbil. Which, of course, he goes right on his shoulder. And then they proceed to go back in time via walking through a door. And this scene reminds me so much of the Terminator. With the whole lightning thing. At least, basically, he doesn't come to pass butt naked. That would be kind of stupid. So, he attempts to, like, beats his gang up. And then, of course, he drinks gasoline. Because he thinks this was alcohol. Yes. Also, he has super strength. At least he's not basically saying, give me your clothes. At least not saying that. That'd be kind of silly. Icarus kind of Spielban a few times. He even shoots at him, and he just falls the whole episode. He even falls with the time slip thing, which, of course, Dead to Zero does not know who the heck this guy is. He looks like some random guy who just basically popped up on the battlefield. And there's no Mechalo this whole episode, which is interesting. Which makes this the first episode since episode 21 to not feature. Like, it was one of those rare times. Like, it's almost like this episode is a bit of a transition episode. That's kind of what this episode is. It's like, okay, we're moving from the Bad Mechalo to something else. So, and of course, well, Queen Bedora gets informed by something by the Warthol Guardian Spirit. And then he's brought to the base. Of course, Joseph, I have no excuse over that man. It's like, oh, you mean Emperor Gotham? Like, what? And he comes in, still is bigger. And then the Warthol Spirit transforms into a rebel biker with, believe it or not, like a 19th century beard. Like one of those things that go from go like this, and no. The best way to describe the beard, it reminds me a lot of the lead singer from Motorhead. He had one like this. He had a beard like this too. But I'm not sure why they went with this look for him. Aside from like a tattoo in his face, it's a very interesting look for him. Like all this chain stuff, and of course they have this like mark in his face. He's got a headband. He's like a punk rebel. And he's going to be here for quite a while. The actor who plays it is... His name is Mickey Curtis. You're thinking, wait, Mickey Curtis. Believe it or not, when this thing came out, he wasn't even 40 yet. Yeah, this guy was only 38 when the show came out. You're like, really? Actually, more like 40. He was 48 years old. Yeah, and we had this guy play a villain in this series. And I'm like, he looks kind of white, and well, there's kind of a reason for it because he's half Japanese, half American. Yeah. Right now he's 86. Yes, believe it or not, a guy who appeared in the show from the 80s is now 86. No surprise there. And here's a little fun fact for you. This will be his only tokusatsu series he's actually involved with. Yeah, and not much for TV per se. No, not really. His previous series was a series called Stinger back in the 60s. We did the Japanese dub of that one. It appeared in after the series, he appeared in a few others. And that was it. He probably, I think on the episode, he probably had just celebrated his 48th birthday. Yeah. Comics actor-wise makes him about the same age as the actors like Queen Medora and Murako Sango. Yeah. Yeah. It's... And I gotta admit, of the 4 episodes, I'd say that episodes 21 and 24 are very noteworthy. 23 definitely kind of is in a small way. 22 is just a bizarre episode aside from a future Sentai villain actor. There's not really anything noteworthy about episode 22. And with that, basically, I am on break from Spielban. Now, there are about 3 different anime I'm going to be doing. The first one is going to be the strongest magician in the demon's army was a human. That's going to be first. There were 2 others. Which ones, you'll find out soon. But, yeah. So, pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do the dislike button. I will see you all later for my regular anime reviews. Because I didn't get a chance to do anything because I was focused on getting this done. But it's done now. Which anime first? Fairy Tale One Here's Quest. Okay, next video. Bye.